Life is never a smooth journey. It is filled with twists, turns, and unexpected roadblocks that test our patience, strength, and determination. Challenges come in many forms: financial struggles, academic difficulties, personal setbacks, and even emotional barriers like self-doubt and fear. These obstacles can feel overwhelming, making it tempting to retreat, to avoid the risk of failure, or to simply give up before even making an attempt. But challenges are not meant to break us, they are meant to shape us. Every difficulty we encounter presents an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. The world's most successful individuals did not reach the top because they had an easy path. Instead, they faced adversity head on and refused to let it define them. Think about a mountain climber attempting to reach the summit. The climb is steep, exhausting, and full of dangerous paths. There are moments when the climber might slip, lose their footing, or feel like they cannot go any further. However, those who succeed are the ones who refuse to stop, who take one step at a time despite the difficulty. The same principle applies to life. Progress is made by those who push forward, no matter how many setbacks they face. Many people allow obstacles to become excuses. They convince themselves that their challenges are too big, that they are not smart enough, not strong enough, or not lucky enough to succeed. But the truth is, every single person has the ability to overcome hardships if they choose to keep moving forward. The difference between success and failure often comes down to perseverance. Some of the greatest minds and leaders in history have faced immense struggles. Abraham Lincoln suffered numerous political defeats before becoming one of the most respected presidents of the United States. Oprah Winfrey endured a difficult childhood and career setbacks before becoming a media mogul. These individuals did not allow their challenges to stop them. Instead, they used them as fuel to push harder, to prove that success is possible despite the odds. When we face obstacles, we have two choices. We can either let them define us and hold us back, or we can rise above them and use them as stepping stones toward our goals. The key is to remember that difficulties are temporary, but the lessons we learn from them last a lifetime. Every challenge presents a chance to develop resilience, creativity, and problem-solving skills, qualities that are essential for achieving greatness. It is easy to say, I can't do this because it's too hard, or I'll never succeed because of my circumstances. But the truth is, those who refuse to try have already accepted defeat. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, we must start viewing them as opportunities to prove our strength and determination. The real failure is not in facing challenges, but in letting them stop us from even making an effort. Success is not an overnight miracle. It does not come from luck, shortcuts, or wishful thinking. Every great achievement in history has been built on a foundation of relentless effort, unwavering persistence, and an unbreakable determination to keep going despite hardships. Those who achieve greatness understand that talent alone is not enough. It must be combined with consistent hard work, resilience, and the courage to push through obstacles. Persistence means showing up every day, putting in the work, and refusing to quit even when progress seems slow. It means staying committed to a goal despite failures, criticism, or setbacks. Many people dream of success, but only those who persist through difficulties and keep trying, even when the odds are against them, turn those dreams into reality. Consider the story of Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC. His famous fried chicken recipe was rejected over 1,000 times before he found a restaurant willing to take a chance on it. Most people would have given up after a few rejections, but his persistence paid off, and today his brand is recognized worldwide. Similarly, Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination and faced multiple business failures before creating the Disney empire. These stories prove that success does not come to those who give up at the first sign of failure. It comes to those who push forward despite it. Effort is the driving force behind every accomplishment. No one achieves greatness by sitting back and waiting for opportunities to fall into their lap. Olympic athletes spend years training, sacrificing comfort, and pushing their bodies beyond limits to reach the peak of their sport. Entrepreneurs spend sleepless nights building their businesses, taking financial risks, and overcoming countless failures before achieving success. Writers, artists, and musicians perfect their craft through years of practice, learning from every mistake and constantly improving. Hard work may not always bring immediate results, but it always brings progress. Many people give up too soon because they expect success to come quickly. They try something once, face a setback, and decide it's not meant to be. But true success belongs to those who understand that growth takes time. The first attempt may not be perfect. The second may still be flawed. But each step forward builds experience and skill. Even when progress feels invisible, every bit of effort is adding up. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't often comes down to one simple factor: persistence. The most successful people in the world have faced failures, doubts, and struggles, but they refused to let those obstacles stop them. They kept learning, kept working, and kept believing in their ability to improve. Excuses will always be available, excuses to quit, to delay, or to avoid trying altogether. But excuses never build success. Persistence and effort do. The key to any great achievement is not just talent or intelligence, but the willingness to keep moving forward no matter what stands in the way. It is easy to look at successful people and assume that they were simply born talented, gifted, or destined for greatness. However, the reality is far from that. Many of the world's most accomplished individuals have one thing in common: they failed repeatedly before they succeeded. What set them apart was not luck or natural talent, but their determination to keep going despite setbacks. Their stories remind us that failure is not the end of the road. It is just a stepping stone on the path to success. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He is celebrated as one of history's greatest inventors, credited with creating the light bulb, the phonograph, and many other groundbreaking inventions. However, his journey was far from smooth. Before successfully inventing the light bulb, Edison conducted over 1,000 failed experiments. When asked about his repeated failures, he famously responded, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." This mindset is what made him a legend. He never saw failure as a reason to stop trying, but as part of the learning process. If he had given up after the first few failures, the world might have waited much longer for electric lighting. Another powerful example is Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Many assume that his path to greatness was effortless, but his journey tells a different story. In high school, Jordan was cut from the varsity basketball team because his coach believed he wasn't good enough. Most people would have been discouraged by such a rejection, but Jordan used it as motivation. He worked harder than ever, spending countless hours perfecting his skills, and eventually made the team. His career in the NBA was filled with moments of failure as well. He missed over 9,000 shots and lost nearly 300 games. Yet, he embraced those failures, saying, "I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." His story proves that failure does not define a person. How they respond to failure does. There are countless similar examples throughout history. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 publishers before one finally accepted her manuscript. Albert Einstein was once told he would never amount to anything because he struggled in school. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job because she was considered unfit for TV. Yet all these individuals persisted, believing in themselves despite setbacks. What makes these achievers extraordinary is not that they never failed, but that they never let failure stop them. They understood that failure is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of progress. Every failure teaches a lesson, builds resilience, and brings a person one step closer to success. Many people are afraid to try because they fear failure. But if Edison, Jordan, Rowling, Einstein, and countless others had let failure stop them, the world would have missed out on some of its greatest achievements. The key lesson here is that failure is not a reason to quit. It is proof that progress is being made. Excuses are one of the greatest barriers to success. They provide a false sense of comfort, allowing us to avoid discomfort, hard work, and potential failure. However, the truth is that excuses do nothing but hold us back from reaching our full potential. People often justify their inaction by blaming circumstances, lack of time, or fear of failure. But these are just obstacles that can be overcome with the right mindset and effort. One of the most common excuses is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown. Many people hesitate to try new things because they are afraid they won't be good enough or that others will judge them. But fear is an illusion that only has power if we allow it to. Everyone, including the most successful individuals in the world, experiences fear. The difference is that those who succeed do not let fear stop them. Instead, they push forward despite it. If you never try because you're afraid of failing, you have already failed by default. Another excuse people often use is a lack of resources. They say they don't have enough money, time, or the right connections to succeed. While resources can make things easier, they are not the determining factor of success. Many of the greatest success stories began with nothing. Consider Oprah Winfrey. She grew up in poverty, yet she built an empire through hard work and determination. Steve Jobs started Apple in a garage with very little money. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter as a struggling single mother facing financial hardship. These individuals did not allow their lack of resources to define them. Instead, they found creative solutions, worked with what they had, and refused to let limitations become excuses. Time is another common excuse. People say, I don't have enough time to work on my goals. But the reality is that everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they choose to use their time. Many people spend hours watching TV, scrolling through social media, or engaging in unproductive activities, yet claim they have no time to chase their dreams. Successful people make time for what matters, even if it means waking up earlier, sacrificing leisure, or prioritizing their goals over temporary distractions. Excuses also come in the form of blaming circumstances. Some people believe that because they were born into a difficult situation, success is impossible for them. While it is true that life is unfair and some people start with more advantages than others, success is not about where you start, it's about how you move forward. History is filled with individuals who overcame extreme adversity to achieve greatness. If they had let their circumstances define them, they would have never succeeded. Ultimately, excuses are nothing more than self-imposed barriers. They provide temporary comfort, but lead to long-term regret. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is simple. Those who succeed refuse to make excuses. Instead of saying, I can't, they ask, how can I? Instead of focusing on what they lack, they focus on what they can do with what they have. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you start making progress. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is the idea that every attempt must lead to immediate results. Many people hesitate to try because they fear failure, rejection, or disappointment. However, the reality is that trying does not always guarantee success, but refusing to try guarantees failure. The only way to truly fail is to never make an effort in the first place. Think about any major accomplishment in history, whether in science, sports, business, or the arts. Behind every great achievement is a person who took a risk, stepped outside their comfort zone and made an attempt, even when the outcome was uncertain. If they had decided not to try, their success story would have never existed. A great example of this is Elon Musk. Before Tesla and SpaceX became the massive successes they are today, Musk faced multiple failures and near bankruptcy. He risked everything, investing his own money into his companies, knowing there was no guarantee they would succeed. But because he tried, even after experiencing setbacks, he ultimately transformed the electric vehicle and space industries. If he had let fear hold him back, we would not see the advancements his companies have made today. Another powerful example is Stephen King, one of the most successful authors in history. His first novel, Carrie, was rejected by publishers over 30 times. Frustrated, he almost gave up and threw the manuscript in the trash. But his wife encouraged him to try one more time. That one last attempt led to his breakthrough, launching a career that has resulted in over 350 million books sold. If he had never tried again, the world would have never known one of its greatest writers. These examples prove a simple truth. Success is impossible without effort. Even if you try and fail, you are still further ahead than someone who never tried at all. Every attempt, whether successful or not, provides valuable experience, teaches important lessons, and builds resilience. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey toward it. The fear of failure often holds people back more than actual failure itself. Many people never start a business, pursue their passion, or chase their dreams because they convince themselves that they will fail. But failure is not the worst thing that can happen. Regret is. Imagine looking back on your life and wondering, what if I had just tried? What could I have accomplished? That feeling of missed opportunity is far worse than any temporary failure. It is also important to understand that small attempts lead to big successes. Every great athlete started as a beginner. Every successful entrepreneur had to take their first risk. Every artist, musician, or writer once struggled with their craft before mastering it. Success does not come in one giant leap. It comes from consistent attempts, learning from mistakes, and improving over time. By refusing to try, you eliminate any possibility of success. But by making an effort, even if you fail, you keep the door open for growth, opportunity, and future achievements. Trying may not always lead to instant success, but it is the only path that can. The only true failure is the failure to try. One of the greatest misconceptions about success is that only winning matters. Many people believe that if they try something and don't succeed immediately, their effort was wasted. However, the truth is that every attempt, regardless of the outcome, is an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. Success is not just about reaching the finish line. It is about the lessons gained along the journey. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't succeed on their first try. They stumble, they fall, and they get back up again. Every time they fall, they unconsciously adjust their balance, their coordination improves, and their muscles strengthen. Without those repeated failures, they would never develop the ability to walk. The same principle applies to everything in life. Every attempt, whether it results in success or failure, teaches something valuable. Consider the world of science and innovation. Many of history's greatest inventions were not created in a single attempt, but through countless failures and refinements. The Wright brothers, pioneers of aviation, faced repeated crashes and setbacks before they finally achieved powered flight. If they had viewed failure as the end, they would have never kept experimenting, improving, and ultimately succeeding. Instead, they saw each unsuccessful flight as a learning opportunity, a chance to adjust their design, understand aerodynamics better, and come back stronger. In business, some of the most successful entrepreneurs have experienced devastating failures before finding success. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, initially launched several unsuccessful ventures before building one of the most powerful companies in the world. Bill Gates started a failed business before Microsoft became a reality. These individuals did not let failure stop them because they understood a crucial truth. Each failure brought them closer to success by teaching them what worked and what didn't. Failure is often the best teacher because it provides direct, real-world feedback. When something doesn't work, forces a person to analyze what went wrong, make improvements, and try again with a better strategy. Mistakes build experience, and experience leads to mastery. A musician does not become a virtuoso without playing wrong notes along the way. An athlete does not become a champion without losing games and learning from them. Growth happens through repeated attempts, not instant perfection. Even when an attempt does not lead to immediate success, it still provides benefits. It builds resilience, which is the ability to bounce back stronger after setbacks. It develops problem-solving skills, as each failure requires adjustments and new approaches. It fosters creativity, as people who fail must think outside the box to find new solutions. These qualities are essential not just for success, but for personal growth and long-term achievement. Many people avoid trying because they fear failure, but what they don't realize is that by not trying, they miss out on valuable learning experiences. Even an attempt that doesn't work out as planned still adds knowledge, skills, and experience that can be applied to future endeavors. The more a person tries, the more they learn and the better they become. In the end, success is built on a foundation of failed attempts, lessons learned, and continuous improvement. Whether an attempt succeeds or fails, it always contributes to growth, making it a necessary and valuable part of the journey toward greatness. Many people believe that success is determined by natural talent, that only those born with extraordinary abilities can achieve greatness. However, history and countless real-life examples prove that hard work and relentless effort are far more important than raw talent. While talent can give someone an initial advantage, it is dedication, perseverance, and a willingness to put in the effort that ultimately lead to success. Consider the world of sports. Some of the greatest athletes of all time were not necessarily the most naturally gifted when they started. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the best footballers in history, was not considered the most talented player in his youth. But what set him apart was his unmatched work ethic. He trained harder, pushed himself beyond limits, and continuously worked to improve his skills. Today, he is recognized not just for his talent, but for his relentless pursuit of excellence. Similarly, Michael Jordan, despite being cut from his high school basketball team, became one of the greatest players in history through sheer determination and countless hours of practice. This principle applies beyond sports. In the world of music, Ludwig van Beethoven became a legendary composer despite losing his hearing. He was not born a genius. He spent years practicing, composing, and refining his skills. Eminem, one of the greatest rappers of all time, did not start with natural success. He faced rejection and hardship, but outworked everyone else to become a household name. Hard work outweighs talent because skills can be developed, but effort must come from within. A person who is naturally talented but lazy will never surpass someone who consistently puts in the effort to improve. This is why grit, discipline, and persistence matter more than initial ability. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He famously said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." His success was not due to being born with an extraordinary mind, but because he was willing to work tirelessly, conducting thousands of experiments before perfecting his inventions. His dedication to learning and improving was the key to his breakthroughs. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often simple: effort. Someone with average talent but a strong work ethic will achieve more than someone with exceptional talent who refuses to put in the work. This is why so many underdogs rise to greatness, because they refuse to be outworked. Hard work is also what allows people to surpass their own limitations. When someone consistently puts in the effort to improve, they develop skills, gain experience, and build confidence. The more they practice, the better they get. What once seemed impossible starts to feel achievable. This process of continuous effort and self-improvement is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stagnant. Ultimately, talent alone is never enough. Success is a result of discipline, dedication, and the willingness to put in the work day after day, even when progress feels slow. The people who achieve their dreams are not always the most gifted, but they are always the most determined. One of the biggest obstacles to success is the unwillingness to step outside of one's comfort zone. The comfort zone is a safe space. It's where things feel familiar, predictable, and easy. However, nothing great is ever achieved by staying in a place of comfort. Success requires taking risks, embracing challenges, and pushing beyond limitations, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Growth happens when we expose ourselves to new experiences, face challenges, and take on tasks that initially seem difficult. Imagine a person who wants to become a great public speaker but is afraid of speaking in front of people. If they always avoid opportunities to practice, they will never improve. However, if they step outside of their comfort zone, start